So one of the really tricky things about getting started with sync licensing is the uncertainty that you feel pretty much all of the time when you're submitting to a library, when you're working with a library, when you're waiting for the royalties to come in, when you're waiting for your next batch of royalties to come in. There's just a whole bunch of uncertainty that we have to face, and this business is just kind of baked into the cake. It just comes with the territory essentially. But what I wanted to do today was to just reassure all of you that that is not something that's unique to the sync licensing business. So I hear from a lot of producers that they're worried and unsure that, if I sign my 12 tracks exclusively to this library, how do I know for sure they're going to get me placements, right? Like, how do I know for sure? I need a guarantee that they are the best possible company I could be working with, that they're going to push my music the best, the hardest, and that I have the highest chances of success with this particular company. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but there is no guarantee clause in any contract that any sync producer has ever signed on planet Earth. Okay, that's never existed. I've never seen it. I've never heard of it. There's no such thing as a library in their contract saying, and we guarantee you, X number of placements by the end of, this contractual period, or else, here's a penalty, or you can take your tracks out or something like that. The only thing that they might have is a reversion clause, which is usually 3 years. And that would be for tracks that they don't get placed. So that would be the closest thing that you could get to probably a guarantee. It's not a guarantee your tracks will get placed, but a guarantee that if your tracks don't get placed, you could at least take them out and go to another company. Okay. So what I meant by saying, this is not unique to the sync licensing business is that there is no industry, there's no business, there's no job even that you could ever have where you could guarantee future results, future paychecks, future clients, future sales, okay? Because I think a lot of producers are mistakenly believing that because they don't feel that certainty and that confidence and that getting that guarantee that something's going to happen, that they feel this might not be a good, it's just too risky for them, right? And I understand that. Everybody has their own risk levels. Everybody can make that choice for themselves. But even at your day job, what is your guarantee that you're still employed next week or next month or next year, right? Things happen, downsizes happen, companies get bought out, big clients fire you, and you're really struggling at some point. So there's no such thing as a guarantee or a for sure certainty of the future in anything that you ever do. And every producer that does sync licensing full time had to start off feeling the exact same uncertainty that you feel. Okay, so that's the encouraging part of this video, hopefully, is that you are not the only person on planet Earth getting started with sync licensing that has this kind of pit in your stomach feeling like, man, I just gave over 20 of my great tracks to this library, and now I'm just kind of like hoping that things happen. I don't know. You're not the only producer that feels that. In fact, pretty much every producer has a little bit of that baked in to their journey, okay? If you feel really great about the library that you're working with, that's awesome. That can kind of alleviate some of that uncertainty and maybe that anxiety that you're feeling about it. But there's no such thing as getting away from that, because we live in a universe, in a world that nobody really can predict the future to any meaningful degree, okay? So if you are really struggling with that, just try to take comfort in the fact that everybody is nervous about the future. Everybody is uncertain. Nobody has a guarantee of how things are going to work out, okay? And the one thing that you can basically guarantee is yourself, okay? So what I mean by that is that if you work with a library and after a year, they're just not producing any results for you, well, you can actually change your strategy. You can basically no longer submit music to them. You can try to find a new company, or from the start, you can probably maybe have two companies that you're kind of submitting some mutually exclusive tracks to either one of those companies, so that by the end of the year, you can see who's actually performed better for you. Okay, so you are the only guarantee that you have. You know that in the future you can control how hard you work. You can control your strategy. You can control the fact that you can make adjustments and change as things either work out great for you with your current strategy or they don't work out. And trust me, everything is going to change. Okay, so you think that your path right now and working with this one particular library will carry you for 10 years. Probably won't. Okay, there's going to be some bump in the road, some opportunity, or some obstacle, and you're going to have to adjust midstream and figure out, ooh, okay, the way that I was doing it wasn't quite working. The type of music that I'm producing is not getting as many placements. We may need to adjust, and definitely keep your eyes and ears out for those opportunities. You will have to adjust from time to time. But you are the only guarantee. So I strongly encourage you to spend less time worrying and catastrophizing, right? And making these horrible worst case scenarios about the future, or just worrying about worst case scenarios in the future, because all that stuff is in a big basket of things we can't control. So spending a lot of time in the present worried about that and thinking about that, it's kind of a waste of time. Not only a waste of time, it is a poor choice of using your time, because that is time you could be filling your head up with optimism and motivation and and just positive energy, basically. So instead of all that, basically try to spend more time, investing in yourself and in feeling that guarantee, that certainty that you are the only thing you can really count on, right? From now and into the future, you obviously have a lot of power for how you go forward in this business, what your strategy is going to be, the kind of quality music that you produce, how much time you spend with your music, how many shortcuts you use to maybe get away from high quality music. There's so many things that you can control, obviously, that a lot of producers, I think, are not spending enough time thinking about. They're spending most of their mental energy in this fantasy future that hasn't existed yet, and it doesn't exist yet. And so we don't even know really what's going to happen there. So I hope this maybe gets you guys a little bit more centered and focused on something that you actually can control, so that you're going to have a much more prosperous future in this business. Thank you guys so much. Please leave your comments below. I'd love to know what you guys struggle with when it comes to this issue. Do you guys are you guilty of this? Do you guys really kind of worry and wallow in that anxiety about, oh, is this going to work out? Or maybe you don't even want to submit to a library because you're worried. You don't even know which library is going to be the best one. So it's easier just to not to submit, so you don't have to commit, and sign that agreement. So let me know where you guys are at with this issue. I'd really love to read your comments.